Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business, or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose. Welcome back to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we crush excuses, face fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Today is a solo episode. Something that I want to talk about is morning routine. A couple of the folks that I coach are asking consistently about morning routines. It's kind of a hot button. So what I want to do is talk about what I know, talk about what I've experienced, and then also talk about my morning routine and kind of how I got to where I am with it. They say you start your morning, the way that you start your morning kind of sets the tone for your day. I think that's why this morning routine thing is such an issue for folks. But if that's the case, then why not make it amazing? And then you need to define amazing. Today, we're diving into how you can create a morning routine that boosts your energy, your focus, your mood, and sets you up for success. But it's also something that you can do and something you can enjoy. Um, a morning routine can really improve productivity, it improves your mental state, and just your overall well-being. And from my perspective, a morning routine sets me up to win. It sets me up. I know what my morning is like, and then I feel like I'm going to know what my day is like. The brain is most alert and most creative after waking up. That's scientifically proven. And studies on how routines lower stress and increase happiness have been done. So that might be part of this. And a lot of folks, there are folks in history that have famous morning routines. Ben Franklin asked himself every day, what good shall I do today? And then we've got, Oprah Winfrey. She talks about meditation and journaling. Tony Robbins does that cold plunge thing. All sorts of folks have morning routines. All different people do all different things. I would suggest thinking about your morning routine. Why do you want to do it? Are you doing it because it's now the fad or the trendy thing? You see a lot of people doing it. Define your why. Why do you even want a morning routine? Is it to feel more organized, less rushed, or to start the day with intention? Or start out with a win? Is it because you're tired of running out the door and you think a routine is going to help? Find those questions, see what it is you're after before you start setting out with the morning routine. I'll also suggest starting small. Avoid overloading yourself. Begin with just like one or two things. I would say begin with drinking a glass of water and stretching for 5 minutes. That's where I would start, especially if you have no morning routine at all. If you're one of those people that jumps out of bed, has to hit the shower, has to brush your teeth, has to get dressed, and then rush out to the car and go to work, start small. Get up a few minutes earlier, drink a glass of water, stretch for 5 minutes. Depending on what your routine is going to be, plan the night before. If you want to start running, lay out your running clothes the night before. Prepare your breakfast or write a to-do list of all the things you need to do and just check them off as you go by. Set yourself up for a smooth morning. The smoother you make it, the easier it is. The smaller you start, the more likely it is that you're going to stay with it. And I mentioned water because, we go like 7 or 8 hours with no water at all. Starting with a glass of water every day, it helps you rehydrate and it kickstarts your metabolism. That's one place to start. Movement. Physical activity releases endorphins. It boosts our focus. Just movement in the morning, a little bit of yoga, stretching, a walk, anything like that. People talk about mindfulness, meditation, praying, deep breathing, gratitude journaling. anything like that. These are very simple techniques. And you can start with box breathing. It's like you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. That's a box breathing method that you could start out just breathing for 2 minutes a day. Um, I would suggest starting out maybe using a planner or a journal to create some sort of outline of what you want to do. Write down what you want your morning routine to be and start from there. And I'm going to share with you what mine is, why it is, how I got where I am. I want to talk about some challenges that you'll face though before we get into that. People say I'm not a morning person. So I would suggest getting up 10 minutes earlier or maybe 5 minutes earlier and then gradually adjusting it. Get up 5 minutes earlier, drink a glass of water, and stretch for 2.5 minutes. Do that for a week, do that for 10 days, whatever it is. Your evening routine is also going to affect your morning routine or your morning habits. If you're one of those people that stays up late because you don't want to go to bed, I'll tell you, I had to fall in love with my mornings. That's where I got. Um, so if you're not in love with your mornings, there's no incentive to go to bed. People say they don't have time. We're going to focus on quality over quantity. The quality of a 2.5 minute stretch is going to be way better than having this long morning routine set up that we don't enjoy and don't want to do. Because that 2.5 minute stretch, chances are good we're going to be able to do that every day. Be minimal. And when I say minimal, like a glass of water, a 2.5 minute stretch, and write down one thing you're grateful for. That could be your morning routine. And then once that becomes a routine, then it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit. It becomes a discipline, and discipline is what we're after. People say they can't stay consistent. Pair a new habit with an existing one. What's called habit stacking. So if you do have a habit, every morning you get up and you make a cup of coffee, get up, put the Keurig in the machine, and before you press the button, say, okay, I have to meditate for 1 minute. Or before you press the button, say, okay, I have to stretch for 2.5 minutes. Or before you press the button, say, okay, I have to write one thing I'm grateful for. That's a habit stack. We know we're going to make the coffee. We already have that habit. We've already created that discipline. Now add something to it. It's okay to adapt as life changes also. Experiment. Figure out what you like. Figure out what you don't like. Not every activity is going to work for everybody. Some people aren't going to enjoy stretching. Some people aren't going to enjoy meditation. A lot of people think they don't meditate right or don't meditate well. So keep that in mind. Try different components. Just see what resonates for you. Discuss how, or think about how routines are going to shift. How, if you have a routine to get up and walk in the morning, well, when time shifts, are you still going to walk when it's dark? If you walk in the evenings, well, that wouldn't be a morning routine. But if for some reason that daylight or that shifting time is going to alter any part of that morning routine, then consider that. Can you keep it year round? Do you want to stretch outside, or do you want to go for a run? Is there anything that you want to do that the weather or the season might have an impact on? Now, what's really important about all this as you start getting into it is celebrate your wins. Every day that you do it, it's a big deal. You might not think that drinking a glass of water and stretching for 2.5 minutes is a big deal, but it is. Celebrate it. Acknowledge that what you're doing is something hard to do. You're creating a new habit. Follow through is going to be the easiest when you celebrate the steps that you take. I'll tell you what I did. I'll start by my morning routine. A little bit of background is I had a heart issue in June of 2021. This is where my morning routine started. Now, just bear with me. I had sudden cardiac arrest. My heart failed. I was defibrillated, that whole bit. And in my diagnosis, doctors told me I could never exercise again. So that's how I process. That's what I do. I love to exercise. I love to run. That was part of what I would do in the mornings. I would run to the gym and work out and run home. I loved it. So that was no longer on the table for me. I was no longer allowed to do that. 2 months later, my wife of 22 years filed for divorce. So not only could I not exercise, now I had no way to process this big life event that was happening with me. So where I found myself, the best 2 seconds of my day every day was when I first woke up, because I would wake up and forget what was happening or where I was. I forgot what I had to deal with. So the best 2 seconds of the day were right when I woke up. And then I would think, oh shit, yeah, I'm really in this thing. And I would fight for the rest of the day to get back to a good place. I'd go to bed and I'd repeat. What is it? Wash, rinse, repeat. And one day I said, okay, so I get up every day and I feel good for about 2 seconds. And then I just go to shit. And I spend the rest of the day fighting to get back to that place. I never get back to that place, but I spend the rest of the day fighting with the hopes of. So I thought, okay, well, I've got to fall in love with my mornings. That's what I need to do. I have to fall in love with my mornings. How do I do that? So I started reading up on morning routines. I studied it. I read the 5 a.m. Club. And where I landed was I was going to do a program, or not a program, an acronym. I did SAVERS. So I would get up every morning and I did SAVERS, SAVERS. I would have silence. So I would meditate for about 2 minutes. And then I would do my affirmation. So I had affirmations that I would do, took, a minute or so. And then I would visualize. I had a mind journal that I was keeping of all these things that I wanted to see, this vision of my life, where I wanted to be. And I would go through that for a couple of minutes. Then I would exercise, and I would stretch and then do some form of, like, I would do some plyometrics. I would do pull-ups, or I'd do push-ups, or I'd do something, flutter kicks. And that was 5-10 minutes. And then R was I would read. So I love to read. That is one of my things. So I would read for a bit, and then I did scribe. So I would write in my journal for a bit. And this ended up taking like almost 2 hours some mornings. So I'm up at 6 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock, I'm ready to get my day started. And this doesn't even fall into the things that I tried, like cold plunge and exercising in the morning and doing red light treatment, all these different things, going for a walk. And, it might be 9:30, 10 o'clock before I'm ready to go some mornings. And I didn't like that, but I felt like I had to have this morning routine. I said, okay, well, and that went on for about a year. Now, remember, I'm living in like a 1-bedroom apartment without my family at this point. So I'm really needing to fall in love with these mornings. So I thought, okay, well, what do I like out of all this stuff? What do I like? I don't necessarily like the affirmations, although they may be helpful. I don't like them. I don't like the visualization. I don't like the exercise, because I love to have a big, hard workout at some point later in the day. A big workout for me is ideal. So these small little exercises felt like I was just checking a box. So I landed with just doing a meditation. And the meditation piece, for those of you that poo-poo it or say I don't do it right or whatever, I might not do it right. I'm pretty sure that I don't, if we're going to judge it. But I can tell you where it has helped me. It's helped me when I get up at like that 2 o'clock in the morning thing that pops in my head. Meditating helps me move past it. I can take that thought, I can dismiss it, and I can move on. I can fall back asleep. So for that reason alone, I'm a fan. So I wake up, I meditate. I try to avoid coffee first thing in the morning. I say I try to avoid, because some mornings I just want it. So I wake up, I meditate, then I will read, and now I can read longer. So I'll read for like 30 or 40 minutes, sometimes longer, and then I'll write in my journal. And along the way, after I'm past about that 30-minute mark from waking up, I get up 5:35 every morning. And after I'm past that 30-minute mark, then I'll start having coffee. And then when I'm done with that, I'll either write down one thing that I'm grateful for, which is also part of my journaling. But I also like to send one email, just a quick note to someone, telling them something positive or something that they've done for me or something great about them. And that's my morning routine. And it sets me up. Oh, I make my bed. The very first thing I do is I make my bed. Even if I'm in a hotel, I make my bed every day, because that is a win for me. Making my bed is my win. So I know that day I'm going to get at least one in the win column. So that's my morning, and that sets me up for success every day. And I feel fulfilled after I finish my morning routine. So that has been a hot button lately with some of the guys that I coach, wanting to know what a morning routine is, wanting to know what I suggest for a morning routine. I will suggest for a morning routine to start your day, find out what it is that makes you happy, get up a little bit earlier and do that thing, because he who does the thing has the power, right? Um, so I'm Jeff Luther, your host at All Can, No Can't podcast. I love seeing you guys, and I can't wait to see you next time. Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.